Welcome back to part two of my Rose Bowl analysis for the 2024 game between Michigan and Alabama. And today I'm going to focus specifically on what Michigan did offensively to create mismatches within the Alabama pattern match defense. They definitely took some time to address how the Alabama defense works and how to take advantage of that. And so, really well coached thing that they did here. And so we're just going to take a few plays all from the first half, actually, just kind of showing you the things that they did throughout. So let's go right into it. In the first quarter, 9 minutes and 6 seconds, they got down to a 2nd and 4 on their side of the field. Michigan's going to do a little pitch play here, and it's really well designed. What they're going to do is they're going to basically give the look that they're going to block to the right, but they're actually going to give a quick pitch to the left side. So Michigan is in 12 personnel here, which is one running back and two tight ends. One of the tight ends is kind of like in an H-back position right behind the right tackle. Roman Wilson, the wide receiver, is right next to him. And you got the other tight end, number 44, basically functioning like a fullback almost in this situation, in motion at the start of the line of scrimmage. And then they're going to give the pitch to Blake Corum here with JJ McCarthy under center. Alabama is running like three people down on the line. They got Braswell standing up on their left side of the defense, and they have the rest of their guys all got the three people standing behind them, two linebackers, and a couple of DBs, although Terrion Arnold's off to the side, so this is really functioning more like a zone. And so when the ball is snapped, JJ McCarthy is going to come back as if he's about to hand the ball off in a regular handoff going to the right side. You can see that Michigan basically has two linemen in the tight end pull out to the right side as if they're trying to block to that short side of the field so that Blake Corum can kind of cut up the field in that direction. But they just very slickly and very easily pitch the ball off to Blake Corum going to the left side. And you can see that tight end who was in motion, number 44, and the wide receiver, number 6, who was already at the top of the screen, they pull down the block. And so because of how they schemed this up, it looks like it's going to be a run to the short side of the field. So all the defensive linemen and the linebackers start out going to that side of the field. The cool thing is that Alabama, so this is where the chess match comes in, this is where the players who are executing comes in and know their assignment. Malachi Moore and Kool-Aid McKinstry, the Alabama DBs on the top side of the screen, they recognize that, hey, these guys are coming down the block. So they got to move up. Look at Malachi Moore. He comes up first, takes on the blocker, the wide receiver. Number 44, the tight end, kind of moves up on the cornerback. And so Michigan schemed this up, obviously on purpose. You want to get your tight end / fullback position on the DB. It's going to be really hard for him to break this unless he's a safety or something like that. But this block is obviously going to work, and Blake Corum has a way to run through, and he gets that nice little seam for a good first down run. It would have worked out if Deontay Lawson, number 32 of Alabama, so he kind of read that it was coming too. Like he saw the initial pull and he kind of stayed where he was, but then when he saw the pitch, he's fast enough to get out there. The problem is he took the wrong angle here. He thought, oh, I can get to Blake Corum before he can get to the outside of Malachi Moore setting the edge. Unfortunately, that's not what happened here. Deontay Lawson tried to chase the underneath angle and to get him in the backfield. What he should have did was went around Malachi Moore from the beginning so that he can meet Blake Corum at the line of scrimmage. But because he didn't commit to going underneath, and he tried to get over the top once he realized he wasn't going to make it, he ended up running into Malachi Moore, who was getting blocked, and Blake Corum had an easy run for first down. And Michigan, like I said, they schemed that up well. They didn't try to overpower Alabama or go at them just kind of man-to-man that much. They really did a good job of misdirection and changing things up. So with that said, we're going to go on to the next play that I want to show you, which is a throw from JJ McCarthy. It's going to be a first down here, but it's on 2nd and 8. First quarter still, 5 minutes and 51 seconds left. The way that Michigan is kind of setting this play up, they are once again like in well, I guess this is technically 11 personnel now. So they took one tight end now, they have one in. So it's one running back and one tight end, three wide receivers. Number 82 is in motion in the backfield, and they have Roman Wilson close to the line of scrimmage again, and I think number 6 is up there at the top of the screen with Kool-Aid McKinstry. And so when this play is converted, mainly because Deontay Lawson falls down, but you'll see that as the play is snapped, they kind of pull I think that's the right guard, number 52, or the right tackle. They kind of come out a little bit to block, almost like we have a running back setting the pass. He kind of comes out almost like a pull, but not quite. And so Jimmy McCarthy does a little play action fake from the pistol. He's looking at the top of the screen, and Alabama has that covered up pretty well. The DBs did a great job. Braswell beats the tight end and it's come around the edge. and the pressure is there. As a matter of fact, Alabama did a really good job on this play overall, especially initially. And the pressure got there, Braswell and the lineman. Unfortunately, I think the real mistake comes in. So before I even talk about the completion and the play up the field, I think one of the bigger mistakes was Justin Igboigbe, number 92. Although he beats 52 into the backfield and kind of bull rushes him, overpowers him, he tried to get J.J. McCarthy directly. J.J. McCarthy is very athletic. So instead of pursuing and pushing up on J.J. McCarthy like this, he should have just set the edge and let J.J. McCarthy try to beat him with a throw down the field. Even though J.J. McCarthy can do that, obviously, he shouldn't have went directly at him and given him a free out to escape the pocket. So J.J. McCarthy escapes the pocket. Because here's the thing, if 92 just sets the edge and J.J. McCarthy can't run around, Chris Braswell was going to be able to get J.J. McCarthy. And I think he made a mistake here. But J.J. McCarthy escapes, even though he wasn't going to be able to scramble because I think 92 was catching up. But he then throws the ball up the field, and number 20 catches the ball down on the sideline. But even then, like I said, I mentioned Alabama defense did a great job. What you're seeing on the other angle, of course, is that Deontay Lawson picked up the running back out of the backfield, and Lawson was there. If Deontay Lawson didn't fall, it probably would have been an incompletion here, or J.J. McCarthy would try to run, and it wouldn't have been for as big of a gain. But all of this could have been negated, like I said, if Justin Igboigbe, number 92, didn't try to rush directly at J.J. McCarthy, but instead set the edge a little bit better and let Chris Braswell come around the side and sack J.J. McCarthy. That would have been the better play in this situation. Alabama had things pretty much locked up here. And so that's what it came down to. And Michigan executed well. That was a good throw from J.J. McCarthy. That ball ended up right where it needed to be, near the sideline. Great catch by the running back to catch that ball and keep yourself in bounds and fall down. Good play. So let's go to the next one. This one, I had a lot of fun going back and looking at, because I was like, man, how did Michigan get Alabama to mess up like this? Because a lot of people, when they see a busted coverage or a free guy run to the end zone, they're like, oh man, it just messed up. There's a reason why people mess up. So in the first quarter, 4 minutes and 32 seconds left, 2nd and 4 here. It's in the red zone. Michigan's going to score a touchdown on this play, as you see, but they are in 12 personnel, so they love their 2 tight end packages, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. So just so people know, when I mention like 11 or 12 personnel, 13, whatever it may be, the first number is the amount of running backs, the second number is the amount of tight ends, and then you can figure out the number of wide receivers. So obviously 2 wide receivers on this play. The 2 tight ends are set to the left of the left tackle, number 73. So you have, I think that's 89 and 18 right there, and a little bit of a stack. And you have Roman Wilson right outside them, almost like in a little triple formation, not quite, but kind of set up that way. So they're obviously trying to do that stacked formation thing with a couple of routes that are close to each other. And that's the reason why I'm bringing that up, because that Alabama's last 3 opponents tried to do the same thing. And then the wide receiver at the bottom of the screen, which really is just kind of pulling this guy to the side. So we have the running back set to the right of J.J. McCarthy there in the shotgun. This play is simple in design in terms of what you see on the field, which is those 3 guys to the top of the screen from Michigan, Roman Wilson, 2 tight ends, all basically run routes that are kind of crossing routes going across the middle of the field to the end zone. And what they do instead, or what they do kind of to offset that, is they have the wide receiver at the bottom of the screen run a crossing route across the other side, so going opposite of those crossing routes, and they have the running back leak out of the backfield to the flats on that same side. Now, in theory, Alabama would just either in their zone stay where they are and wait for the ball to be thrown, or man coverage just follow the guys around, which can be hard on crossing routes in general. Alabama's playing a pattern match zone here. So they're not playing straight up man coverage, and you can tell because Kool-Aid is set to the top of the screen. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's not directly on top of the cornerback, he's on the outside. And you got the safety kind of looking over, and you got Malachi Moore up close. So Michigan knows Alabama likes to do pattern matching concepts. And so look at what they did here. Those 2 tight ends, they kind of do like a weird thing. They both run crossing routes, but if you see number 18 kind of runs up the field, and 89 starts his crossing route first, and the other steps behind him and continues his crossing route behind it. That is very intentional. So they intentionally do that to confuse the Alabama linebacker and safety who's on top of that play to decide who's going to get who. So in the pattern match concept, you have to pass off your wide receiver, the guy you're covering, to the next person. but it's based on who enters your zone. And so it works really well when it's executed right and people know which concept they're supposed to take on and who they're supposed to pass on, who they're not supposed to follow. Alabama obviously did not do that here. You see it in the other angle, which is basically that they had Malachi Moore following number 18, the tight end, and you had number 89, who I said 18 came underneath 89, but they both continued their crossing routes. And then you have the two linebackers in the middle of the field. You got the wide receiver number 6 coming across the middle of that. You got Blake Corum leaking out of the backfield. But now you got 3 Michigan wide receivers because Roman Wilson also does a deeper crossing route behind those 2 tight end crossing routes. So Kool-Aid is covering that. I think what's supposed to happen, and I'm not an expert on the pattern match too, and I don't know how Saban coaches it specifically, I'm not on the staff, but I think what's supposed to happen here is that Malachi Moore is supposed to pass off the tight end number 18 to the linebacker. Also, the guy behind Malachi Moore, he's not supposed to pick that up either, number 89. The safety, number 2, is supposed to pick him up. So here's the thing, because this is why it's confusing, because then Kool-Aid McKinstry also has Roman Wilson, and he's supposed to pass off the wide receiver to the person next to him. So that would be the safety number 2. So the way it's supposed to go, I think it's supposed to be like this. Malachi Moore starts out, passes 18 to the linebacker. I think that's Jihad Campbell. And then the guy behind Malachi Moore is supposed to pass on to the safety while he's there, number 2. And the safety, number 2, is supposed to pass Roman Wilson on to the other safety while Kool-Aid McKinstry can come off and pick up the running back underneath, and the linebacker, Jihad Campbell, who has already passed off, can pick up Blake Corum underneath. Just depending on who's there, because I think at that same time, Jihad Campbell would have already started picking up Blake Corum coming out of the backfield if things were passed on correctly after he let his tight end go, and Deontay Lawson was supposed to pick up 18 after he picked up 18 after Malachi Moore passed him off, and that would have allowed him to be free to get the underneath route. So basically, I think all in all, at the end of the day, what was supposed to happen is that Kool-Aid McKinstry and Jihad Campbell were supposed to be the ones who would pick up Blake Corum in the wide receiver number 6 underneath after they continue passing on their player through their zone in the assignment that they're supposed to play. Like I said, this is a complex defense. The way it's supposed to work is that it will cover everybody and it makes sure that there's no holes in the zone. But the players have to execute it right. And Michigan knows how difficult it is to execute this, and they took advantage of that by calling a play that puts those pattern match concepts in conflict with each other. But I think the thing is, when you're a defense that runs these type of things, you have to trust your guy to pick it up. You have to say, I know it's not in me to let go of my guy and pass him on, because they're used to just covering guys and staying within their zone. But the way this defense works is that you let your guy go and you move on to the next guy who's in your zone. And Alabama did not do that here. I don't know who's completely at fault. I don't know who exactly messed up, but Michigan definitely, seems to have taken advantage of multiple areas of the second line of defense and the third line of defense in order to set this up, because they end up basically getting 2 guys open underneath. And I think they were just expecting to maybe get 1, which is probably going to be Blake Corum. But Alabama just did not complete their pattern match zone scheme here. So great job by Michigan of scheming that up. And Alabama just mis-executed here. So we'll go down to the last couple of plays I'm going to show you from this game. Michigan is going to hit Alabama with a trick play in the second quarter here. So the second quarter, 5 minutes and 46 seconds left. It's 1st and 10. Alabama is got, who do they have on this field? I think this is going to be 3 down linemen. They got Dallas Turner standing up on the right side, and Michigan is in another heavier package here. They have 12 personnel again, 44 and 89 tight end. Roman Wilson's on that top side, and you have Kool-Aid McKinstry down here on wide receiver number 6. And so Alabama is going to respond in kind of like a base-like defense, but what they're going to do is Michigan's going to once again do that trick where they kind of send guys to the right. They're going to present the play as if it's a running play, a pitch play to the right side. Alabama reacts very well. Everyone's responding really well to that play because they actually did pitch that ball out there to Donovan Edwards on that side, but they were not expecting the throwback. And so the throwback, Dallas Turner, being very fast and the athlete that he is, actually did get there and pressure JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy just did a fantastic job of falling away while throwing this ball, by the way. Like catching the ball with one hand, that ball could have easily just kind of went past his fingertips, been a fumble. They would have been well out of position, and this would have been a big loss for them, and I doubt they would have probably went on to score on this drive after losing those yards. But look, I just want to like highlight how JJ McCarthy really had to be athletic, jump up, catch this ball with one hand, quickly turn around because Dallas Turner hunted him down. Dallas Turner saw the throwback coming and immediately ran down JJ McCarthy. McCarthy threw it up. Now, what you may not have noticed is that the whole time while that was going on, Roman Wilson actually didn't really block. He just kind of made it like he was part of the jump and he was running his deep crossing route the whole time. So their whole plan was to get most of the Alabama defense thinking this is a pitch play. Get the Alabama DB, that's Caleb Downs number 2, to leave his guy, right? And that ball's going over the head. And that's just another example of how Michigan, like I said, they use a lot of misdirection. They weren't necessarily trying to beat Alabama head to head, front to front, because Alabama's defense in their front is actually really good. I feel like people didn't give them enough credit this year for who they are, especially if you just look at statistics but instead of watching the game. Alabama did a great job of fighting up front on defense. And so Michigan thought we need to stretch them out and to get some plays on them where we get them flowing in the wrong direction and we take advantage of maybe a mistake that someone makes. That was another example of it here. Good execution by the Michigan offense on this play. Great job. I mean, there's nothing more to say on it. And so the last play I'm going to show you is that JJ McCarthy is going to complete a drag route for a touchdown here. And I think what's interesting or what's simple about this play is Michigan just completed the drag for a touchdown. It's 3rd and 10. The second quarter, that same drive, 3 minutes and 59 seconds left. Michigan is actually going to be in 11 personnel this time, 1 running back and 1 tight end. And so what they did was Alabama's in zone again. Alabama's playing zone, and they just ran number 8, the wide receiver, underneath on a nice little drag route. And this is simply Michigan getting a wide receiver on an Alabama linebacker. Number 32 is Deontay Lawson, a linebacker. He can't catch him. Number 8 is really fast. He outruns him. Like, it's kind of like a deceptive speed, too. He doesn't look like blazing when he's running, but he is moving. And like I said, because Alabama's in zone here, they've run off the Alabama DBs with some routes going up the field. And they bring this little drag route with the wide receiver underneath on purpose to get on a linebacker, Deontay Lawson. Now, Deontay Lawson is athletic. Deontay Lawson is fast. But you're not going to catch up to a wide receiver typically doing that type of thing, especially since they ran off the Alabama DBs toward the middle of the field and to the left side, and they ran this drag route to the right side. So it's the little things. Like, you think in football, you're like, oh, this was a simple play. Like, sure, you can say it's simple in terms of what they had the people do, but what it did to the defense was that it moved all the fastest players from the defense to the left side of the field, the middle and left side, and it brought one of Michigan's fastest offensive players underneath on not a slow player, but a slower player than a skill position player. And that wide receiver caught that ball and outran him to the sideline and up the field for a touchdown. Just really good execution by the Michigan offense. Wasn't necessarily bad defense, just the fact that Michigan won a battle here. So when you're watching good games, I think what's really interesting to me is that I think a lot of people say, oh, this coach was out-coached or they messed up here and they were just out-coached, out-schemed. And it's like sometimes you're not, you got out-executed sometimes, or just the execution was so good that there was nothing you can do. It's almost like throwing a back shoulder pass perfectly. No matter how good of coverage that you have, if the back shoulder pass is thrown perfectly and the receiver catches the ball, you just got to chalk it up to good offense. I think this is one of those plays where it's like there's not much more the defense could have did differently here, especially since they're playing zone and the skill position players matched up on a linebacker. That's just the way it is. Good play by Michigan. They had a few things in their bag like this all day, and they took advantage of it, and I got to give credit where credit is due. Good job of executing on offense by Michigan, especially since the Alabama defense was very good, and they had to find a way to beat them, and they pulled out these things when they needed to throughout the game. So great play. Let me know what you think about this. Did you have fun watching the Michigan offense, or just seeing like what they did differently? They weren't crazy explosive or like consistently like just like drudging through like Alabama. They just they did what they needed to when they had to, and I respect that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you for part 3 coming up soon. See you next time.